Welcome to the Scene Snobs podcast.
What? Welcome to the Scene Snobs podcast. It's Tuesday night, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mick Manhattan from the Scene Snobs. I appreciate you being here and hanging out with us, whether you're watching us live or watching us later or listening. You guys are all awesome. Thank you. So we're gonna have a fun episode for you tonight. We're gonna get into a few things, and I'm excited for it. I got a lot of takes on a lot of stuff, but the last couple of nights I've been watching that Quiet on Set, the dark side of kids TV. A lot of stuff I want to talk about with it, and we're gonna bring in producer Paul in just a few minutes. But I'm gonna tell you guys, it's been a few days, and through this whole few days, I've been taking a lot of time. Been doing a lot of stuff, trying new things, and I've been thinking about getting into painting, and I wanted to share that with you guys. So I want you guys to, if you guys are painters out there, right, throw me some of your work. I want to see what you guys do, and if and I'm thinking about getting into it. So what should I start with? Join the Discord maybe, or if you are over on social media somewhere, message me or maybe tag me in something, hashtag us at the Scene Snobs, or hashtag the Scene Snobs, I should say, or at the Scene Snobs, tag us or whatever. But I would love to hear it. Like, if you're painters, I do like to draw sometimes. I'm not great at anything, but I've been always interested in painting, and I know I have a lot of painter friends out there. So this is just merely a hobby. I'm not looking to get into anything. I'm not going to become the next Van Gogh or Van Gogh, if as you will, or however you pronounce it. But I've just been interested, and I have a lot of really funky, weird, fun painters out there, and I want to hear from you. So how should I start? Where should I start? Let me hear it, and let me see some of your artwork. And if you're cool with it, let me share it out here. But before we get started, let me bring on our good buddy, producer Paul, who's been sitting in the green room waiting for me. There he is. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, we're doing good, Mick. Doing better.
Good, man. Good. I'm glad to hear it, buddy. So I want to also thank tonight's sponsor, Shopify. So the information's down there, the link's in the description, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. But Paul, how you doing tonight? So you excited? What you been up to?
I'm excited for tonight. I'm excited for you to do this paint thing. I think you might need to start doing like the wine and paint minus the wine, and just do like a Discord video of we're gonna make the I don't know, something off Ghostbusters, whatever. Paint by numbers together.
I'm excited. I wanted to, I was thinking about it. It's something I'm always interested in watching. I always liked watching Bob Ross. It's not like something I've ever really tried, and I would never fancy myself a painter, but I thought it'd be cool to maybe, just for the relaxing nature of it, maybe I'll set up a canvas outside on my back porch, get some paints, and just paint something. I don't know. First thing comes to me. Yeah, just see what I come up with. But
right,
it's gonna be a long, hard journey. Of I don't know. Maybe I just won't even like it.
Right.
So who knows where this goes?
I've only done the paint by numbers one time, and it was kind of fun. But painting's I'm not artsy at all, so. But it was fun. It was made very easy, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this actually wasn't too bad." But
well, is there something that you do enjoy that's maybe not art? Well, I mean, art's a broad term, so you can, you can make anything really, or do anything that can kind of be conveyed as art in one way or another. But is there something in your minds that you could that somebody might consider art that you do?
I mean, I do some writing as a complete hobby. That's not, it ain't a job, you guys. It ain't paying the bills, but I do enjoy writing. As far as something a little more therapeutic, just to keep my mind in order, I'm a stress cleaner, 100%. If I got any stresses going on or anything like that, I like having something I have complete control over and that I can fix right then. I know that's not art, but I know that's kind of my go-to. Because I know a lot of times Matt and Sam, they know if something's up before something's up, because they'll come downstairs in the morning and the whole house is clean and mopped, and they're like, "Oh, okay." You okay?
Okay. That's not bad. All right. Well, hey, listen, cleaning can be an art form too. I've seen a lot of amazing cleaners that pull it off nice. And also, maybe some detailers. Done and done. All right. So I wanted to get into it a little bit and talk about a couple of things tonight, but I don't know if you've had the chance. You're a little younger than me, and you may not have seen it, and that's okay, but you might know some of the things we're talking about. I watched the 4-part docuseries Quiet on Set, the dark side of kids TV.
Right.
It's all about the Dan Schneider reign on Nickelodeon and the things that happened under his reign and who he was. Do you know anything about the story? Did you watch Nickelodeon at that time?
So I actually came into the house the other day, and Matt was watching it while I was working, and I kind of got caught up in it because I guess I should have assumed all studios had that, had their own problems at certain times, but I guess just being a 90s kid, I assumed, Nickelodeon never really had problems. And then I was like, oh my God, Amanda Bynes is on the screen right now talking about this, that, and other. And I was like, oh, I need to watch this. And I think I watched episode, it was either 2 or 3 with him. And then I stopped, and then he was like, the next episode comes out, I think, in a couple days, or even today or tomorrow or something like that. So I figured I'd come back and watch it. All of it.
It's a hard watch. It's heartbreaking. It was definitely, for me, it was really hard. Just because like I'm watching with my wife and I'm like, yeah, I mean, like I never saw anything with kids. If I ever saw anything with kids in my personal experience, I'd be in jail.
Right.
Because I would have murdered somebody. And that's not even hyperbolic. I'm not being hyperbole, nothing hyperbolic or about that. I'd murder somebody.
Right.
Like, you're not gonna hurt any kids on my watch, but it's not like, nothing was unbelievable.
Right. And that's sad. That's really sad that.
And I never worked for Nickelodeon.
Right.
So I never worked for Dan Schneider. I never met anyone who worked on this. So I'm not associating it with them whatsoever.
Right.
Nothing was unbelievable. Many of the stories were very familiar.
Right. And I think it's crazy that just there were so many no protection for those for fucking kids to begin with. Like that's just I don't know. I get out, I was born in the 90s, and I guess I did have Adventure Park and all that shit, free reign, but I guess it's the little things I take for granted now where, even when I was in school, there were things to protect us as far as teachers, and it's insane to me thinking at a time in your adolescence when you're most vulnerable and most trusting that people were able to abuse that power without almost any retribution at all. It's not okay at all.
And now we're fine. And what I like about this documentary and the fact that it's coming out now, it's shining more of a light, is that there's been so many child stars that have come out for years and years and said like there's a problem, or at least have alluded to a problem the best they can, and no one has listened, or it's always fallen on deaf ears. Kind of like, well, look how much money you made. Like that makes it better. Like that's okay. Right. Like we're just okay with children being abused. Like this is an industry that openly allows this to happen, turns blind eye to it. And I don't care how many precautions they put in place. No, and it's not just kids. That's horrifying and terrible.
Right.
But it's open to allow so much abuse to happen. And that's why we see it. And it always has been. Hey, Wise, what's going on, bud? Thanks for joining in, man. And it's so like in recent years, for it to be more and more prevalent, and honestly, to see this industry take a straight hit after hit after hit over so much, it's been nice too, like, and that's the thing, stuff like this, like you see cancel culture doesn't exist, or cancel culture shouldn't exist, or this or that, and it's like, you're right, we are overboard in cancel culture and woke culture, and this a lot of it is very overboard, but the reason being is because of this.
Right.
Because for so long we didn't do anything.
Right.
And we had children who were suffering. And then and a lot of times getting no help whatsoever, turning into adults getting no help whatsoever. And then later, because they're suffering, we're being completely, we're turning them into monsters, or like throwing it on them and stuff like, and it's just horrible to see what, like, what they had to go through. And like, we need to listen to more stories like this,
Right.
Because look at the one piece of garbage whose name I probably should mention. It should be mentioned because the guy's still working in Hollywood. Like, this is a situation where the guy who they talk about, one of the guys, and I was kind of going back and forth earlier. I was like, should I mention him? He molested Drake Bell.
Right.
Drake Bell had finally come out and talked on this documentary about his time and how he was molested, sexually assaulted by this guy on multiple occasions in horrifying ways. And this guy had gone to jail for it, and then what is a registered sex offender, and is still working in Hollywood with kids,
right,
to this day. So his name's Brian Peck. So look him up. This guy should not be working with anyone. It's horrifying. So I am going to put his name out there, because this isn't like the other ones where like, don't glorify this person, they're evil. This is a guy that's like, make it aware. He's still working with children. Should not be, doesn't deserve to have that. It's not okay. That's the, I don't care if the law says, or there's some loophole or something. It's like, it needs to be put out there, that needs to be made aware. I don't care how many people, and that's when Hollywood needs to be put on check, in my opinion. But, what's your feelings on it, man?
I mean, I absolutely agree with you. I wish they had felt safe enough to come forward earlier. I'm glad they feel safe now, and there's people listening to them now. I just wish it could have happened, immediately, or people taking it serious, or, a lot of times I know in certain situations, there's just shame with the family. Like, even you tell the parents, like, well, this and that, a lot of times people like, what do you call it? Like sweeping stuff under the rug, because it's easier just to do that than to deal with something full front. And I hate it. And I'd like to think we're reaching a point as a society where we're finally, like, maybe that guy won't be able to work in Hollywood anymore. Maybe the show will enlighten enough to where they're like, well, this wasn't just a one-time thing, or this wasn't, years ago, so we'll just let it go. Like, you still don't deserve to be here, like, in this industry.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot too, where people are like, because the dude, I think he worked as recently as 2018, and then the Me Too movement, I guess, sort of as an actor, right? Additional crew, 2019, producer. Okay, so he might not be, but listen, everybody, that's what's listed on IMDb.
Right.
You don't have to list everything on IMDb. And when stuff starts coming out, a lot of people won't. Right. So that doesn't mean he's not working. All right. Especially in Hollywood. There's plenty of my stuff that's still not listed on IMDb just because I haven't put it on there. So, so there's, there are people who will leave that stuff off. So it's just, if you need to get a paycheck, it is what it is. So, and a lot of the stuff is, after knowing this and seeing what he's worked on, is alarming to know that he worked on that stuff. Stuff like this, what bugs me about it is, like, personal experience of what I've seen mostly has come towards women.
Right.
And I am not going to talk about me in this. I don't want to talk about my experiences. I can't talk about my experience. And also, I don't want to make it about me. I will just say this. Seen some horrendous stuff. There's a reason. There's a lot of reasons I'm still not in the industry. It's not just this, but this topic we're talking about. But like, and not that something that happened to me or anything, but like things I've seen. I don't like the industry and how it holds itself and the rules it holds itself by. It is a lot of things that we saw in there, and again, it's not just the egregious sexual things, which are just disturbing. It's how they handle things, like when they had the women writers talking about having to split salaries.
Right.
The pit in my stomach of like, I've been a line producer, I've been asked to do that, and I never have, but it has come my way, and it usually does come for towards women. It's disgusting and despicable. Or I've also been asked, can you defer her pay? No.
Right.
Why am I deferring her pay?
Right.
And usually that came to me deferring my pay before I would defer anybody else's.
Right.
But it's, and that's a personal choice. Not many people do that, and again, you don't have to, but that's, again, it's fucked up, and that's why I prefer like the indie world. The indie world, either like, you're all in agreement, either like, I can't pay you, can we all make this? Or I'm going to pay you this, what I can.
Right.
And you agree on that. And that's what it is. And you work your way up. Like the mainstream, or you're in your union. You get what you get.
Right.
Doesn't always work out for everybody though.
It's true.
It's a lot better today, but as we've seen last year, not great.
Right.
Still not perfect. It's a lot of things, but like, it's just despicable how so many people are mistreated in this industry.
Right.
Still. And in that documentary, I'm just so glad came to light and brought a lot of things to light. And I will tell you, I listened to the episode from Boy Meets Pod.
Okay.
Where they talked about it, about a month ago. They came out, and of course, you're getting asked questions. I'm sure you're getting asked to make comments. Your PR, your PR people are like, you gotta get in front of this. So, and they're gonna make an episode, and they seem to do their best. They all knew the guy,
right?
The two wrote letters, Will Friedle and Ryder Strong. They wrote letters for Brian Peck's behalf. I'm gonna say it, like, listening to that episode, do I know if they knew anything? I don't know. They were kids. I don't think so.
Right.
But I don't know. I definitely don't. When they wrote those letters, I don't think they, like, I'm not defending it, but I think it was, I'll write it. Like, I don't think they were ever thinking about the victim. So I think it was callous, but I don't think it was malicious.
Right. That's fair.
And like, when I hear a lot of people talk about like these people who wrote letters and stuff, like, I think we need to get back to that. Right. I'd love to hear what you think about that, but I think a lot of people like think it's malicious in nature. And a lot of times it's like, I think it's more callous and like more dumbfounded than anything.
Right. Yeah. And, especially in this situation, like you said, they're kids, and kids, not saying kids are dumb. I'm not trying to say it like that, but kids are very face value. Like, they see what's in front of them, and, they're just kids. So it wouldn't surprise me if maybe they didn't see anything, as much as if, God forbid something happened to either of them, maybe they're just not comfortable. They're not trying to tackle it. They don't want to be the face of, taking them down, or, oh, well, I was molested too. Maybe they're not ready, and that's their way of being like, oh, well, I didn't get touched. No, it wasn't like that. Just to kind of make themselves feel better, which I get, because everyone has their own way of healing and dealing with things. And do I think that's the healthiest way to deal with it? Absolutely not. But I'm not them, and it's up to the individual, because some people silence is better, and some people speaking out is better. And I just hope, in knowing what I know about those two actors, I'd like to think, like you said, there's no maliciousness. I don't think they didn't get a paycheck from writing a letter on his behalf. I think they were being very honest in how they felt, but I also think maybe they should have taken in consideration how it makes the other people look. Because if someone only listens to them and loves their shows and stuff, if they hear about these other actors, maybe they're like, well, didn't happen to them. Probably didn't happen to them. They're just making it up to be relevant again, since they haven't been since the 90s. And that's
I also think the callousness comes into the idea of how it works in the industry too. Is like them. I think they were kids. I think they were friends with this guy. They worked on a show with him. Like some of them, I think turn a blind eye. It's like, all right, we're not, like I think it becomes this idea of like, what did your friends say to you? Like, I was tempted one night, I was drunk, this, that, and the other thing. That's disgusting. First of all, you're saying that about a 15-year-old, and any adult who listens to you who's the adult listening to that they believe you? Like, what would they been tempted with? Like, that's disgusting. So like now it calls into question like the adults who are believing you. Like now, so like a kid writes a letter, it's like, all right, maybe they're just don't understand the story. So like again, I don't like kids aren't stupid, but kids are ignorant to many things because there's not a lot of experience in every area,
Right.
And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. The kids will gain experience as they go, but I do think like, when you come to these letters, like, cause we saw with the Danny Masterson stuff and all this stuff, everybody freaking out. I was like, I think it really comes down to the callousness of like, oh, it's sealed though.
Right.
But now, because all of this is coming out years and years later, because now people are really, this is news. We're gonna see lots of less letters being written.
Yeah.
Oh, big time. Like that's gonna be a big one. And it's gonna be interesting too, because it's so weird how it sort of shapes how we see everybody now,
Right.
And like how the way Hollywood goes. Because I mean, nobody's not working,
right?
But it's definitely, it puts a stamp on people. Like Ashton Kutcher and like his wife, like you hear a lot of stuff like the Justin Timberlake stuff and like how that went with like Britney and all that. It's so odd, but like it makes it's almost like it kind of puts a stink on the whole mainstream world of it,
right?
And I'm kind of for it. I'm kind of dig it. It's like there's something gritty about it,
right? I think there's an honesty there, and I'm not saying fuck mainstream movies because there are plenty of mainstream I like, but I think that might help the focus be more on indie, like you said, which I think is good for up and coming directors and actors and people who do sound, just the whole crew in general. And I think that might be a good thing.
Yeah,
I mean, as because we know plenty of indie directors. If any of them was doing anything like that, we both know no one would work for them again, and no one would, no one's going to support them instantly.
Yeah. Monsters like this, get the fuck out,
Oh yeah. So I think that part, just indie alone, that just makes it better. And that goes both ways. Like even if it was an actor, maybe touching an underage actor, we both know that you're done. Like that's it. There's your acting career. Have fun at Celebration Station being the fucking bear, you piece of shit. Like I don't give a shit.
Yeah, can we just like at this point, like I'm just so glad we're at this. Like that's the thing. Like I wish we could figure out a way where we can even out the cancel culture side of it. Like because that documentary like was really disturbing in a lot of ways. Like not just like because like when you get to the point like where it gets like later, and I don't want to give up too much because I want people to watch it, like because it really needs to be seen. Like people need to see this to kind of open up their eyes to it and like what's going on. But like the over sexualized stuff they used to do on that show, my nieces used to watch that stuff.
Right.
That's disturbing as hell. Like the feet stuff and they used to do like shots, like I don't even want to I want. It's disturbing. You watched that, right? Like that was your.
And I watched it growing up too. And I will say as a child, I don't realize it. It's just okay, like not to sound weird, but like okay, it's tickle time, or oh ha ha ha, that's kind of funny. Like as a kid, but like you said, like even watching some of those scenes again as they're talking about their story, I'm like, yeah, that's not fucking okay.
Yeah.
But like I said, as a kid, it over my head because I didn't quite understand the severity of that. And that probably has to deal with, I didn't have any issues with that particular trauma growing up. So, I didn't see that as a trigger or anything, like, hey, my parents tickled me. Like, I didn't think anything of it. I mean, they didn't blast me with anything. we weren't that, but some of the little things that just like, I never thought any kind of negative connotation about as a child. Looking back, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing now. That was your parents. That wasn't like
right.
A producer on a set like that. Like I'd been a producer on a set and I would never tickle a child.
Right.
Like that was the thing. Like I was watching a lot of that and I was telling my wife, I'm like, I wouldn't do that. That's unprofessional. I wouldn't do like you're putting yourself in like he was sitting in a pool at one time with Amanda Bynes. I'm like, I wouldn't do that. That's unprofessional. And she was like, not even on a set. I was like, at most with kids in it, I was like, maybe I'd sit on the other end and put my feet in. And that's if we're in a comfortable setting with an entire room, the other adults are around. Right. And that's like to establish in a comfort zone of like, everybody feels comfortable, but I'm at the other end with my feet in, not in it.
Right.
And that's it. And that's if I feel comfortable doing that. But I'd also, and that's because I wouldn't want to sit there looking at kids, like sitting in a chair, staring at them while they're in a pool,
right?
Talking to them, because that could feel really uncomfortable for them.
Right.
Now, so like you can play that up when you look at that picture, but it's still unprofessional to be in the pool with them.
Right.
Your hands underneath, stuff like it is. It's just unprofessional. So like sitting on the edge or something like that. So like you're a little more personable. Is okay. Right. And like I realize I'm picking apart like this one picture.
Right.
But there's ways to conduct yourself. First of all, you don't ask for massages from anyone. Hire a masseuse.
Right.
Put that in your budget, your personal budget, not your show's budget. You need a massage that bad on set, you hire a masseuse under your own money. Or you put it in a rider in your contract with the studio. That's how that works. It's just, and I'm watching a lot of that, watching a lot about how he kind of conducted himself with Amanda Bynes, which breaks my heart because she was such an amazing talent. Like I got to work on Sydney White. Like I was just PA on Sydney White, but she watching her, like I didn't work with her. Right. But like watching her work, she was really talented. And, I hope she can come back to form. I know she's been suffering mental health issues, in the, maybe in the last decade or so, but, not that she couldn't return to form. I know she has a podcast now and I hope that works out for her, but it is heartbreaking that whatever it was that affected her, things like that happened that could have made an impact,
right?
So it's sad. It really is. It just breaks my heart to see stuff like that. George D3, what's going on, man? Welcome. Thanks for joining in, guys. What do you think about it? Have you had a chance to see Dark Side of Kids TV? Quiet on the Set. But
that is on Hulu, just so you guys know. I think, right?
I saw it on Amazon Prime. Because I have Max, so I have Max through Amazon Prime, so it was on. So it is
on Max. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I thought he was watching on Hulu. Sorry, I just want to make sure they knew where to be able to catch it.
Don't ever talk out of turn again. God, apologize right now. No, you're all good.
I'll just give you a massage. It's fine.
Yeah, right now. Get over it. I turn into him all of a sudden. All right, guys. All right. Real quick before we get anywhere else on this, I want to talk to you about our sponsor, Shopify. That's right. Shopify is our sponsor of this episode. And if you guys don't know who Shopify is, they're the ones that are going to help you start your online business from beginning to end, every step of the way. They're great for it. And if you want to check them out, head on down to our link down in the descriptions and you will get a free trial and 1 month on your first month. That $1 on your first month. That's right. Shopify. It's the best way to start your online business. Go check them out and get them started now. And you got that kaiju size idea? That's right. Start that monster size idea now at Shopify. All right, guys. And let's 3 Geeks is here. Ooh. Yeah, on Max, I will watch. You should. I think it's an eye opener for a lot of people because I'm telling you, that is stuff that happens on many a set. And it does happen on indie sets, and it shouldn't. Conduct yourselves professionally everywhere. Always.
Right.
That's the way it is. I'm not saying that a man and a woman cannot flirt, cannot meet each other, cannot talk, and as long as it is within bounds, it can be done in a really wonderful way. And I listen, I have friends who are still married to this day who met each other on sets. Right. And I had friends who are still friends who dated and didn't, and broke up and whatever. But so it is a part of the lifestyle. But conduct yourselves properly and professionally on sets, and don't ever make comments that are out of turn. For sure. Right. And don't ever make advances that are definitely out of turn. Right. That's for damn sure. Ugh.
Especially taking advantage of power or authority. That's definitely not okay.
No.
That's not fair. In any situation, even if it's not necessarily that, but for promotions or anything else, or getting a raise, or any aspect of that, just don't abuse your power, man. Or lady. Period.
Yes, 3 Geeks podcast, and yes, and leave the kids alone. 100%. No, actually, don't leave the kids alone. Keep them protected at all costs. Keep them protected. I don't know. That should never go without saying. That should never, ever go without saying. And watch this documentary. I really do think this is. It's 4 parts. It's 4 hours. It's very well done. It's very well told. They're very good stories. They all cover, and don't go watching Dan Schneider's because I watched his interview afterwards, and Jesus, come on, man. I'm glad you took your lobs and you were able to knock them out of the park in your mind, but whatever you say. I'm not even going to go there. But anyway, you ready?
Yes, sir.
You want to get started on our reviews for the week?
Yeah.
So, guys, we are reviewing some fun ones. So these are reviewing one I liked. We're doing a friend of the show's, our friends over at TTFT have made a movie, Far From the Tree. We're reviewing that today, and we're reviewing Ricky Stanicky from Amazon Prime. Let's start with Far From the Tree, shall we?
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me take that off and pop that on. So Far From the Tree it will be coming out soon, and we will be posting the trailers down in the description. You can go check it out. Make sure you give them a follow. Make sure you give them a subscribe. They're good filmmakers. I really like these guys. They're great guys. Make sure you go follow TTFT podcasts. You may have seen us on their movie trivia podcast tournament last year, which I'm hoping we'll be invited back. We were the champions last year. Paul, you're gonna have to pick up pieces this year. It's gonna be interesting for you. But it's gonna be they're a fun group. This movie, I really liked it. It's a slow burn.
Yes, it is.
It took a turn I did not expect it to take. so my app, I'm taken aback a little bit because I was
Okay.
waiting to talk about this with you.
Okay.
I love slow burn movies.
Mhm.
So when this movie started, I didn't read anything about it. I didn't look at anything up. I didn't ask them about it. I went into it and they didn't. So there's no information. I didn't even know what genre it was.
Right.
So as we go on, I'm like, okay, this is an interesting tale. Where's this going? And I see this story about a father and his daughter, and there's a lot of loss and tragedy and grief being played into this. And it takes a really crazy turn. And I don't want it, because it's not out yet, I want this to be very spoiler free.
Copy that.
So let's not share anything about where it goes.
Okay.
But overall, I would love for you to share about your overall feelings about this movie.
So my big thing with slow burns, which I think typically everyone feels, is that you want to be worth it. You can take a slow burn if the ending is satisfying. I will say I found this very satisfying. It was absolutely worth it. I really appreciated the time you could tell they put into the dialogue, because there's quite a bit of talking with just those two. Sometimes I feel like there's a lot of extra words that are just fill-ins, and you can feel it's kind of forced, and they're like, oh, well, we just need to get more time in there of them talking. So let's just throw in, I took out the trash. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you took out the trash, kind of silly fill-ins. Those were not in this movie. I thought that everything was said deliberately. I thought a lot of them talking about loss and all, some of the things that were going on. It was very raw. It was very honest. And I appreciate that, because it was easier to connect to, because it didn't have to be something outrageous like 12 car pile up with the bus on fire and that's how mom died type shit, which does happen and it's sad, but it was just real. I appreciated the actors. I loved their voices, honestly. Kind of their monotone speaking. For most of it I really enjoyed, because it made you look into it more, like, well, why are we kind of calm about this but talking about something bad or upsetting.
Just to interject on that too, just for that one point, it also felt like it gave that, it kind of helped me feel that they had a hard time connecting.
Right.
Yeah, so I got that feel from it too.
So I thought they did I'm not trying to anyway, I'm not trying to blow smoke up anyone's butt, because I know they were your friends, but it did very much, like, if you had said this is produced by Monkey Paw Productions, that's about the caliber I would put it at. Like, it felt very well thought out, well planned. It was filmed really good. I liked the colors. Audio was great. If you hadn't said this was an indie film, I honestly would have been like, oh no, this is just a bigger budget, maybe a back burner one for a bigger budget, but it had production value.
I agree.
I think they set a good tone for a lot of short films I'm going to be plowing through between different festivals, where they might get judged a little harsher, because I'm like, well, this is what some people can do. And
I like that. Yeah, I could definitely see this being more of an upper echelon in sort of film festivals. I would say the only thing for me was a bit with pacing sometimes in between, in the slower moments.
Okay.
And I think that's only because my anticipation of wanting to get back to the interactions.
Right.
I will say in the beginning, the pacing seemed a little slow, because I'm like, where is this going? The first 20 minutes is a very slow burn, because once you get to that 22-minute mark, you're like, what is happening? You're like,
right.
Where did this go? So it's like, and you're glad that you took that journey with there. And the daughter, her name escapes me for a second, but she, in that first 20 minutes, you're like, wow, she's so monotone. I'm like, I wish she would like just have a little more inflection. But when it turns and you realize what's going on, it does. And you realize why she was so monotone in the beginning. You're like, oh, I did love why they played that off. And it's so really good direction and choices in this. So I enjoyed this. It's so So that was the only thing I would say. Like maybe just the pacing in between on the more silent parts when there's no interactions, but it's not that it's bad or anything. Like I still enjoyed it very much. Solid ending too.
Yep.
Solid ending. So and that's all I'm going to say on that. But all right, well, let's give our ratings for this one. We both gave it 3 out of 5.
There we go.
That's a good rating for us.
We're finally on par again. I feel like the last couple of weeks I've been throwing it off. We've just been opposite. It's too bad.
Yeah, we've been like, well, we're going back that way in just a second.
Oh
But
God.
but we're on par with this one. I think we found a good movie we really like. So good on you, Far From the Tree. Everyone, keep an eye out for this one. I think you really like it. And I did put a blurb out for that, and I think I called it Hauntingly Beautiful and Twisted.
Okay.
And I think that works for that one. But let's talk about Ricky Stanicky.
You talk first. Go ahead.
All right, I watched Ricky Stanicky. First of all, this is a dumb concept. They made up a friend. I'm going to give you the premise. All right. So these 3 friends got in trouble when they were kids by putting a house on fire. And I'm only laughing at it after the fact because I'm mad that I had to watch this stupid thing. I'm not laughing at the actual event because it was stupid. But there are, I will shine a light on a couple of good things that made me chuckle. Primarily Andrew Santino and a couple of John Cena scenes. But they light a house on fire because of a bag of dog poop that they lit on fire. And so instead of, just running away, they write Ricky Stanicky on like a piece of clothing and leave it there. So they frame this kid, and then they realize, oh, we can just frame everything on this kid. And then eventually, when they grow into adults, it becomes a lie where he's their friend that nobody's ever met. And they can just like get out or go do things and like use him as the excuse every single time. And it starts with them getting out of Andrew Santino's character, JT, in the movie. He's having a baby shower, and they get tickets to go to some big DJ in Atlantic City. I don't even know where they live. San Francisco?
I think so.
So. So that makes no fucking sense. They're going to go 3,000 miles away. He's going to skip his baby shower. He deserves to be divorced. But anyway, I digress. So they leave. And again, I'm laughing at the fact that this is so fucking stupid. I'm sorry I'm cursing so much. I was mad at this movie. They pretend Ricky's cancer came back and that they have to fly to Albany to be with him. Instead, they fly to AC to go see a DJ in concert and gamble all weekend. They meet John Cena, whose character's name is Hard Rock Rod or Rock Hard Rod. And his job is he's a rock and roll impersonator, who sings versions of rock and roll artists' songs, but masturbation versions. And I'm not kidding. And so they get called back early because his wife went into labor and had the baby 6 weeks early. So they have to race back. And then they have to come up this whole thing. Their one friend, played by Jermaine, I think Jermaine is his name. I can't remember his name. I can't even remember the guy's name in the thing. Whatever. When their other friend wants to come clean, so he starts to come clean. Zac Efron doesn't want to come clean. It's a stupid movie. They hire John Cena to come in and play Ricky Stanicky. He's a down and out like loser. So he just becomes Ricky Stanicky, gets a job at their job. It makes no fucking sense. The whole movie is I'm really honestly trying to explain this to you, but they throw you so many goddamn curveballs in it. I shit you not. There's like 3 funny scenes in the entirety of this movie. and one of them's the montage of him singing the masturbation songs. And I can't even think of the other two at the moment. None of them involve anybody else. They don't, except for maybe Andrew Santino, who is actually funny, and John Cena. That's it. That is it. That's it. So go ahead, Paul, because you like this one. Yeah, I can't keep going.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me Paul explain to you why this movie was superb.
Superb? I swear to God, if you put like 2 or more friends in a movie together, Paul gives it a 10.
It's not true. It's probably a 9, but we'll get to that later. So, going into it, I was skeptical because it's almost a 2-hour-long comedy by Amazon fucking Prime. So I went in there thinking it was going to be the worst.
It was.
I was pleasantly surprised. It's exactly what I want for almost a slapstick comedy of what it is. It's ridiculous. I thought it was hilarious. I like the absurdity of everything that happens. Everything you listed that doesn't make sense is everything I loved.
No. That's not absurdity. That's not absurdity. That's not absurdity.
Sense.
That is not absurd comedy. That is not the definition of absurd comedy. That is just shit happens. Dude, at one point, they add him having an alcoholic father that beat him.
True.
And then never touch down on it again.
That is true.
That's why he lies.
But yeah, you're right. They didn't really go into Efron's backstory that much. But
she knew the whole time. Why?
Right. That's true too.
The boss hired him. Why?
It didn't make sense. For comedies, comedies are cheap to me. They're never going to be thought out.
Super Troopers is an absurd comedy. It
Okay,
makes sense. There's
fair.
A point A to point B to point C. Like, you have to get to these points, but you can do it in an absurd manner. This makes no sense. He's like even like taking. I'm like, I can't with this movie. It made no sense. Like it would have no. I'm trying. I don't know if I could even fix this movie.
That's
and it was made by
it's perfect.
Brother. It wasn't. I guess it just wasn't made by the right Harley brother. I don't know. They should have got Bobby back. Where was?
But if you're a John Cena movie fan, I would highly suggest it because you won't be disappointed. At least by Cena, because Cena is funny and Cena plays his typical roles, but that's because he's really good.
I like John Cena. I like John Cena.
That other fellow you're talking, I just forgot his name because he is funny and I do enjoy his podcast. So I did think it was funny. I thought it was funny that they didn't ask Bobby to be in it. I've enjoyed their podcast since this movie got released. Where Bobby's like, I didn't want to fucking be in it anyway. It's fine. I would be that petty person.
I like every one of everyone who is in this movie. Mm-hmm. I like them in other movies.
Okay.
Every single one.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Iron Claw. Zac Efron did great. John Cena, there's plenty of movies I like him in. I think he's great in. It wasn't this one. Definitely was not this one. He was just not. He did not hit on any level. Peacemaker, great. Does great now.
Absolutely. Yep.
So like, again, and I don't even mind him in his crazy comedies.
Right.
This was a pile of dog crap. In fact, that the whole beginning of this movie is the movie. It's a metaphor for the movie. It's the dog crap that burns the house down. That's the whole movie that we watched. And that is why for you, I think I gave it an extra point because I knew before you even gave me your rating. I was like, Paul's gonna give this. I was like, first of all, Paul's gonna give this more than 5 because you don't understand the rating system yet.
I keep giving you like 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, and you're like, we go by 5, and it's like, fuck, man, we've been doing like I've been with you for a while. Right.
And so I knew you were gonna give it a high rating. So I was like, I'm gonna give it because I like Paul so much. I'm gonna give it an extra point for him, but it was gonna be a 1. But I gave it a 2, and you gave it a 3.5. Yep. I'm mad that you gave this 3.5. But whatever. I mean, it's your opinion and whatever. Stupid
Now,
movie.
if I could ask anything from anyone that's following us or listening, I would love to see you guys watch it and see where you land more behind Mick or myself, because I'm just curious. I could be wrong, but I'm not.
Listen,
But that's okay.
anybody can watch anything they want, and if you like the
Yeah.
movie, that's fine. You can like the movie. I never tell anybody not to like a movie, but it's so stupid. It's a stupid movie, and I hate it. And I'm never gonna watch it again. I will watch the montage again because that shit was funny, and that's why I like John Cena. So John
Okay.
Cena, I think, is funny. Again,
Mhm.
everyone in the movie I liked.
Right.
I don't like. It's not like yeah, all these actors are stupid. They shouldn't have picked them. I was genuinely upset because they underutilized a lot of people too. You
That's
know,
fair.
like I was like,
Yeah.
they underutilized Andrew Santino. They underutilized like
Yeah.
there were so many people that were underutilized in this movie. Zac Efron was underutilized, like
Yeah.
because you got too convoluted with so many things happening. You added too many people into this. I feel like AI wrote this. Like that's what I feel like, and I don't even want to talk about it anymore. So let's just do a mixed movie pick. I want to do a smart movie now, and that's what I'm going to start doing with some mixed movie picks right now. And we're going to go with 2007, and this one's going to be a bit of a thinker. It's more of a philosophical movie. If you haven't seen it, it's The Man from Earth. Very good movie, very good cast. It's about a man who is from the Cro-Magnon era. He has just never died. He has just lived for 14,000 years. And he's just an average man who has experienced, loved, and lived. And through all of that time, he shares his experiences with his friends in 2007, present day. And in that time, they learn a lot about what humanity is really all about. And I think that you can take a lot away from a movie like this. And, if you get a chance to check it out, I think you really enjoy it. So that's my mixed movie pick for this week is The Man from Earth. And if you do get a chance to check it out, I hope you'll head over to the Discord and talk about it with us over in our movie club channel and hang out with us more over there and check out the other movies as well. Head over to the Discord and talk about Ricky Stanicky with us. Tell me I'm wrong if you love it. Tell Paulie's right, or vice versa if you hated it. Let's talk about it. That's what it's all about, right? We are having a really good time, guys. Next week we're going to be hanging out. We're going to be talking. I think what if we talk about? I think I texted you about it the other day, but can movies fall out of being classics and also cult classics? So let's talk about that topic next week, and you guys join in the comments if you want. So we'll be live 7 p.m. next week, Tuesday, and we'll get into that. Don't answer the question now. We'll talk about it next
I
week.
didn't. No. I was just agreeing. That's a good topic for next week. That's what I mean. Sorry, guys. No spoilers.
Guys, get your tickets for CFF Carolina Fear Fest. It's linked below. You can go check it out. 5 Years of Fear. It's coming up. It's going to be big. It's going to be epic. It's going to be great. It's down in Raleigh, North Carolina. We, of course, are the media partners for there. We're going to have a great time doing it. And Horror Conversations is all new this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern live. And, of course, come hang out with us. Guys, all new episode of Godzilla is out. All new episode of Discovering Horror is out. And so much more. You got to you got to subscribe. You got to hit that bell to know when other great episodes are coming out as well. Until next time, I am Mick Manhattan. And
I'm producer Paul.
That's right. And until next time, make sure to be kind, stay classy, take care of yourselves because that's important. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.